Can I take you back to the 1940s? I know you were born in Colorado, then you were in California for a
Yeah,
number of
but I
years.
was born in 1920,
But then you find
like I'm 96.
you came to Nevada in the 40s, you and your husband. What did you first think of Las Vegas in Clark County at that time?
Well, it was big then. I thought it was a big city. And I came to work here from Bakersfield, California, where I had graduated from the high school, Bakersfield High School, and the community college there. And I was working for this man who was an inventor who had invented a pavement from Los Angeles north to Bakersfield because they were on the ice, they were slipping and sliding. So he invented this pavement that kept him from doing that. And so he took a job at BMI out in Henderson, and I was secretary to him then. So he says, "Why don't you just come over to Las Vegas and work for me over there?" So I thought, what do I have to lose? But I met my husband, and so that was the smartest thing I did in my life, was to marry him, because he had been in the service, but he had lived there before because he was a high school teacher. He taught English and journalism, and so he was a good person.
You moved into politics in 1974. You were elected the first female elected to the
Yes.
Board of County Commissioners. Why did you decide to get into politics, Thalia?
Well, I was interested in fact, this person that I knew was very involved, and there were a lot of things going on, and especially with the gaming industry and some of the other, and the development of the community, because there were a lot of housing units being built. And I just thought it would be interesting. And it was.
Thalia, if you can take us back to I think it might have been your first Board of County Commissioners meetings. There was only 5 commissioners at that time, and of course all the other 4 were men, and they expected you to do secretary duties and take
Yeah,
notes.
they
Tell me
did.
about that.
Well, they wanted me to take notes. And I just told them, no, I have the same vote you have. And I'm going to sit here and you can get somebody to take notes. So I said, and I wanted a committee to, and do all the things that they did. So finally they decided I should go play golf with them. So what did I know about golf? Nothing. So I was standing there, and they had a group of people, men there to play golf with, and they said, here's the putter, and you're supposed to hit the ball over to that hole over there. So I stood up there and hit it, and I had a hole in one. Were they surprised? So Joe Brown gave me this big statue. I finally donated it to the women's golf team out at UNLV. So I said, see what women can do.
And how about some of your commission colleagues? I figured out that I think you worked with 18 different county commissioners. Tell me a story about some of your favorite other county commissioners that you
Well,
worked with.
they all were very, very good, because I became chair several times. They wanted me to become a chair, and I did. So that was a big learning experience. But I felt that the men, and Bob Broadbent was a very good friend, and he taught me a lot. I was independent enough to cast my own vote, but to understand the different departments, because when you talk about planning and the planning department, which was a big issue at that time because it was development of the community that was going on, and the big developers that came in to tell you of their plans and what they were doing. Hotels were being built, and I had a very good friend who kind of took me under her wing, Claudine Williams, and she was the owner of Harrah's. So I laughed because I really found out what the casino industry was doing from her, which was really interesting. But Howard Hughes was a good friend too. In fact, I was on his yacht, Yeah, at his home. He wanted to put his airplane on the property there at Twain and the road that goes through right next to it off of the strip. And he had owned this piece of property there, and he just was begging to put his plane there and make it a big restaurant. But we were concerned because he wanted to have parking there too, and there was not room. The plane was too big, and there was not room for parking around it. So we had to turn him down. So, but
Mr. Hughes didn't like to be turned down that often, did he?
well, no, he didn't. My other friends, Mary Dean and Charlie Silvestri, he worked with my husband. He was assistant superintendent too of the school district. And so they were good friends. And of course, I had a cabin at Mount Charleston where we always had dinner all the time. So we invited Mo Dalitz up to have dinner with us. And he came. When I was on the gaming commission, we had the MGM fire, if you remember that. I get a call at midnight. Mrs. Dondero, that was in my district. Would you come down here right away? Because people don't know where to go, to get a cab, to go to the airport, or go where they want to go. And we're just having a terrible time. So I get up, go down to the MGM, and of course the fire was terrible. They had been developing another area of the MGM, and there was a big hole in the wall on the other side of the casino. And it was open. And when the doors were open on the street side, their fire started, and then it drew it all the way across. And that casino was just charred. And so we had a terrible time getting everybody reorganized and taken care of. And I think of that night, and I was there all night long working on that issue. And then that corner became really a busy corner. And when Michael Gahn bought that corner for his hotel, it was a real problem too, because that made more foot traffic. So I suggested we do overhead walkways. So that's how overhead walkways got started. Of course, I lost my last election over Desert Inn because I thought that Desert Inn, we were having a problem with the traffic on the strip and getting across the strip. And I thought if we just put Desert Inn all the way across, that it would help the traffic situation. So they all thought that was a good idea, but my opponent, Myrna Williams at the time, used that against me because some of the seniors along the way that had housing on one of the sides was fussing about it. But today I look at Desert Inn and I still think it was a good idea. And it is, because you can go across town very easily. And, but, you know, you win some and you lose some, right?
Tell me about the state of politics, county, the Board of County Commissioners and current politics. Do you still keep up with it? And what are the most important issues these days?
I think development is still a big issue. And where, there's been a lot of new development in the community for business. And I think that's probably a big issue as to where you let hotels build. And I know they're taking down the Riviera now. And those kind of issues, you have to do a lot of research and a lot of understanding what's going on. And can the traffic handle it? Can you manage things around it? And how do the other businesses feel about it? So there's a lot of work to be done, groundwork really, before you make your vote. And of course you want that business to go ahead, but you have to consider all those other kinds of things. And traffic is always a big issue.
Thalia, in all your decades of public service, what are you most proud of? What would you like people to remember that you helped make a difference in one or two or different things?
I think one of the biggest issues that I think was really long lasting was being able to save Red Rock. And that was a big issue, and I was on the National BLM Advisory Board too. But I met a lot of wonderful people in this community, just absolutely fabulous people, and they're still friends.